President Trump will give his first State of the Union address of his second term tomorrow night. Here's what you can expect. I have no idea what you can expect. This is President Trump we're talking about here. To the extent that he stays on script, there are predictable things that we will hear. To the extent that he treats it like a campaign rally or most of the other speeches he gives, he will be off the cuff. And that is very unpredictable in many, many ways. Of the predictable things, he will talk about the economy, claim lots of credit for the economy going well. He'll certainly be talking about the stock market rising. He will probably ignore the polling that has his approval ratings very low, specifically on public policy items, not only the economy, but on immigration as well, which was his strongest policy item a year ago, or just over a year ago, coming out of the 2024 elections. He's going to talk about his presence on the global stage. He'll claim that he ended lots of wars. And he's also going to claim that he was able to have this much power on the national stage as a result of the tariff policy. This is where things get interesting. Just on Friday, the U.S. Supreme Court, including 2 of the 3 nominees that President Trump put on in his first term, ruled that his use of a particular act to invoke these unilateral tariffs is unconstitutional, and therefore none of those tariffs can stand. That does not mean that all the tariffs that he's imposed are improper, and it doesn't mean that tariffs are a bad policy. Reasonable people can argue about whether they are or are not. The decision, though, by the court was really about presidential power, and it was the first time the court dealt a blow and really limited President Trump's power, the power that he's trying to use constitutionally. This is interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, of course, so much of the foreign policy is tied to the trade policy, which is almost wholly the tariffs. So he's going to have to figure out a way to address that. He's going to have to find a way not to whine about the loss at the Supreme Court, because that's not going to do any good. It's not going to change the decision. And finally, he's going to have many members of the court, including maybe some of those folks with whom he disagrees, his own nominees, sitting right in front of him in the front row. Historically, Supreme Court justices were ignored being at the State of the Union address, but Barack Obama very famously called them out after they ruled in the 2010 Citizens United decision, which was a campaign finance decision. And he said it was a wrong decision and it was going to lead to exactly what we've seen now in terms of campaign finance run amok. So that was the first time that it happened. And then famously last year in his address to the joint session of Congress, wasn't formally a State of the Union address because he just took office, President Trump at the end of it walked down and told Justice Roberts, thank you for the decision that upheld much of his immunity that he had been claiming for official acts. The last thing I'll say about this, so it doesn't get too long, is you're going to have lots of members of Congress, including mostly Democrats, who don't go. And it's not so much they're not going as a form of protest, although that's always part of it, but showing up and voicing one's discontent by clapping, not clapping, etc., is all part of it. But remember, we're in a partial government shutdown at this moment. And the last time President Trump was to give a State of the Union address when we were in a government shutdown, Nancy Pelosi asked him to wait and not give the address until the shutdown ended. He agreed. Speaker Johnson has not requested that this time. So the address will go forward, but you should see more empty seats than you're used to seeing at the State of the Union tomorrow night.